Robin Roberts presents Mahalia, tells the story of the New Orleans-born crooner who began singing at an early age and went on to become one of the most revered gospel figures in American history. I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor at Gold Derby, here with producer extraordinaire Linda Berman. First of all, Linda, congratulations on the film's Emmy nomination for Outstanding Television Movie.
Thank you. We're thrilled. It's not often that a Lifetime TV movie gets nominated, and we were so excited because we love this movie.
So, Linda, talk us through your collaboration with Robin Roberts in bringing the story of Mahalia Jackson to life.
Well, I've been working with Robin for a few years on her new production company and getting into scripted drama. This was our second movie. So I'm really thrilled for her. I've done a ton of movies, but this was her second, and to be nominated is great. But we had a meeting with Lifetime, and they wanted to do the Mahalia Jackson story. And we weren't quite sure what the story would be, other than we loved Mahalia Jackson. And we spent a lot of time reading books and looking at documentaries and seeing what was out there about her. And we hired a brilliant writer named Bettina Gillois, who had written Bessie for HBO. And she wrote a wonderful script. And then sadly, she passed away in the middle of this. And we hired Todd Kreidler, who had worked with August Wilson for 16 or 17 years as a playwright. And he came on board, as well as Kenny Leon, who had worked with Todd, and gave us a kind of new life to the script. And we just, it was kind of, as Kenny said, it was an anointed project because it all came together really well.
And then to bring on someone like Danielle Brooks as Mahalia, it's a beautiful, compelling performance that she delivers. And I'm just wondering, what did you most value about what she brought to the table as number one on the call sheet?
Oh my God, what didn't I value? She was fantastic from start to finish. And she was the one person that Kenny said, when Robin and I said to him, who do you see playing this? He said, Danielle Brooks is the only one I can see playing Mahalia Jackson. And strangely, Danielle had been told for 10 years, you should play Mahalia Jackson. You just have the essence of her. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people knew the singing chops that she had. And, you know, when she came on before we got on set because she's a co-EP on this. And so she had a lot of ideas about who Mahalia is and how to add to the existing script. And she's just a joy to work with and to be with on set, off set. She's funny and she's genuine and she's smart, and she embodied Mahalia. She really did. Her sense of humor, her kind of strength, her voice, everything about her just screamed Mahalia Jackson. So we were really lucky.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm just wondering if you can recall back to when you were shooting. Was there ever a moment when Danielle was performing as Mahalia and you were just completely blown away or just touched or something where you just thought it was amazing? Is there one particular light bulb moment?
Yeah, there really was when we did Carnegie Hall, and we were in this huge theater in Vancouver. And I don't think the crew had really been paying attention as much. And so she's center stage in this beautiful blue velvet gown, and she belted out, Move On Up a Little Higher, and everybody just froze. It just froze. She was so dynamic, and her voice just echoed through the theater, and it really was a stunning moment. And that's, I think, when we all knew this is really something special.
Yeah, it's a really, really good scene. It's probably my favorite of the whole movie. So, you know, while this is a fascinating fictionalized musical biopic about the Queen of Gospel, it also inevitably spotlights her role as the legendary civil rights activist that she was. And in some ways it connects the story with issues that we're grappling with today, particularly around race. What are your thoughts on what the movie does say about race and how it is relevant to this day and age?
Well, you know, Mahalia was born in New Orleans and grew up in the Deep South. And going to Chicago was a real change for her because it was much more modern and sophisticated, and the race issue somewhat different, but still prevalent. And even the churches were different. She could belt out the gospel down south, and it was accepted. In the first scene in our movie, they didn't want her hooting and hollering and moving her body around. So she did face prejudice, but because of her singing, and because where she got in her singing, I don't think she didn't have as much as some other people. And so when she knew what was going on in the South, she really wanted to help. And she went down to meet Dr. King, and they had this wonderful relationship. They became fast friends. And that was what she wanted to do, because it was another element of God speaking through her. Everything she did was because of her connection to God and her faith. So all of her songs were, God speaking through her. And this was another way for her to help the African American community, who, from God, who touched her with such success. And she wanted to spread that word in the civil rights movement.
And then, of course, as a musical biopic, music obviously plays such a vital role in the film. What are the main challenges in getting the musical elements right with the sound mix and the balance and the score and the songs? What's the biggest challenge?
Well, with somebody like Danielle, it lessens the challenges, because we had pre-recorded every song in Atlanta in a studio just as a backup, and if we wanted to use it. But almost all of the songs that she sang are live. She did them right on stage, right on, on location. And I would say probably 80% are live and 20% are pre-records. But the challenge is, getting it right, making sure that you bring in the Mahalia audience that loves the way Mahalia sang, but it gives it just enough of a spin that Danielle brought to it that makes it her own. And I think Danielle is such a fan of Mahalia, as we all were, that she could do that without denigrating in any way the original recordings. So she made them her own and independent of what you'd heard, but still so reminiscent of everybody's favorite Mahalia Jackson songs. The hardest thing with the music really is getting the rights and the costs. After you've done that, everything else is cake.
Oh, absolutely. And as the film's producer, what's your role? What did you find became your main primary role in facilitating this vision of the film's writers and, of course, its director, Kenny Leon?
Well, through the writing process, it was really kind of making sure that it stayed on track, because Mahalia had a big life, and you can't tell all of the stories. She sang at JFK's inauguration, and she had a bunch of real estate, and she started all these beauty salons, and she was quite the businesswoman too. So we tried to put as much in. So my job was to kind of keep the story on track. And once we were lucky enough to get Kenny to come on board, it became his filmic vision along with our kind of dramatic vision of what the script was. And I always say, if you get through prep and you do your job in prep, the production is a breeze. And it was. And it was honestly the easiest production I've ever been involved with, because Kenny knew Danielle, he knew Jakina. Jakina and Danielle went to Juilliard together. Everybody had worked with Olivia Washington. And it all just kind of came together so beautifully. And with, Robin as our vanguard of all of this, she's just the most generous and lovely person. So it was truly a magical movie.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful movie to watch. It was so enjoyable. It taught me a lot about Mahalia that I didn't know. And congratulations on really, really great work.
Thank you.